All right, we'll get right to it. Active attack events. All right. We use the term active shooter. We put out things that say active shooter, but it doesn't have to be a gun. Okay. It can be knife. It can be bludgeoning. It can be a car. Multiple ways. In Japan, they had the guy with the sarin gas. Multiple things. Active attack events. All right. So don't just get in the mindset that it is an active shooter. Definition. Basically, what it is attempted mass murder. Now, there's a caveat to this. It has to be, it's not gang related. It's not part of some other crime that's going on, like a bank robbery and a bunch of people get shot. Basically what we're talking about is an individual or individuals that are coming in to a specific populated area to do mass murder. Okay? Obviously, the state of affairs, you may have heard, you hear now that there are hundreds and hundreds of mass shootings across the country now. That's true. They don't all meet this definition of what we're talking about today. All right? Here, a few weeks ago, over here in Claude Evans Park, you had a dispute going on between two individuals, people everywhere in the park, and the guy starts shooting. All right? Luckily, he didn't hit anybody. But it doesn't quite fit this characteristics because he was specifically trying to shoot at somebody else. Like I said, luckily he didn't hit anybody. He was able to get away in Battle Creek City, and later got a hold of him. He's been arrested. But that is different than this, okay? Okay, let's talk about the attacker. This is very important. No profile exists that says if you have this, this, and this, you're going to have a mass shooter. Okay? You don't. It all depends on the individual. Now, there are some things that we can say. In general, mostly they are male. Mostly. But there have been some females as well that have done this. Majority are male. You know, they have generally an avenger mindset. They want retribution back to somebody or a group of people that have done them wrong in their mind. So they're going to go out and show society something. On top of that, they may want notoriety. Okay? A lot of them broadcast. You hear about manifestos that these individuals created and had. These are some of the characteristics they had, as well as generally you'll see they had a history of violence, exposure to some type of violence, maybe an abusive home setting. They may be substance abuse, there may be mental illness, suicidal ideation. The guys at Columbine, one of the first ones, they had major suicide ideation, how they were going to go out in a blaze of glory. So these are the type of things that show characteristics of who these people could be. They may have stalked or harassed, threatened people. Negative family dynamics and support system. The guy that did Sandy Hook, it was him and his mother in the house, and he basically stayed in his room, wouldn't come out. His only communication to his mother was via email. He would email her, tell her, I want lunch, bring it to me. And she would do it. Negative family dynamics. There was a problem there, and she allowed that. All right. Isolation, instability. Guy from Virginia Tech, considered very much people strange, isolated to himself. And you always hear later on somebody was concerned. I was always worried about that. You know, I wondered about that guy or that kid. So these are some of the risk factors that you may see, but none of them necessarily mean you're going to have an active shooter. But just nevertheless, you be aware of that. This is the bulk of attacks, frequency of the attacks, and they consistently have gone up. Now, while it does appear they have obviously skyrocketed, it does seem like we hear about it every day. Also, society is more focused on it than it was maybe so much here. So maybe there were a few others that could have been categorized in here earlier, but for the most part, it's generally going upward. Now, this is as of 2022. Go ahead and play that. This is mass attacks, meeting the definition across the country, and their stats go until last year. $520 in the last 20 plus years, all right, that have occurred. And obviously Michigan has had a few. You see that? We're aware of it. So it isn't just isolated. You will also note it, for the most part, we're looking at populated areas. Rural areas don't have much. Good for them. Glad to hear that. But generally where you get a lot of people, we're going to get this. This also is dated. This is a few years. Actually, I think we're really getting to the point where it's like 25 to 30 per year. Okay, I want to bypass that. Okay, this still is viable. Now, a lot of times you hear about school shootings. You're there. But in actuality, happens at businesses more often. Okay? I mean, they're both bad, but nevertheless, the majority of these shootings occur at some type of business. Walmart, movie theater, factories, you have something like that. So it isn't just here, like here. Connection, 55% of the time. There is something connecting the shooter with this site. We may not know clearly what it is, but majority of the time there is. Meaning it could be someone that had some grudge because of something or another that happened, and they're just going to take out the whole place, or cause the entity, which I will talk about one of the motives of one of the shootings here in a little bit. The attack resolution, pretty much still, most of them end before the police arrive. Attack begins, attacker stops, they either leave or they commit suicide. The guy from Parkland was able to escape and left, and they found him later. He left. Attack begins, victim stops them. Subdued, or on a rare occasion, an actual victim is able to shoot them and stop them. Okay. 43% generally end after the police arrive. The attack stops. They kill themselves, or they surrender. Or the police stop them, they subdue them, or they shoot them. Okay? Now, does the attacker kill themselves? Now here, this is, again, these statistics are viewed from Texas A&M. There are a lot of experts out there that are saying that the majority of the time the shooter does kill themselves, and it does seem that way. But they're saying it's about a quarter of the time that they kill themselves. There are plenty, I've heard plenty of experts listen to them talk, and they say this number is actually more like 60 or 70% of the time. I don't know where they're drawing their numbers, but clearly they do. We know that a lot of times attackers do kill themselves, and there are plenty of examples that I will be able to show you that they do. But it does happen. Now we're going to talk about active events in recent years. Here we go. University of California, Santa Barbara, 2014. This guy, here's a case. He actually killed 6 people. He shot 3 and he stabbed 3. But then he went on a spree with a vehicle and he's running people over. What is his motive? He wanted revenge at women. He wanted to get women because he couldn't get a date. He was angry, and his little manifesto or his recording at the end was how upset he was with women because he couldn't get a date. Orlando Poltz here. A lot of you probably have heard of these. This guy pledged himself to ISIS and decided he was going to attack this bar, which, by the way, he frequented. He killed 49 people, wounded another 53. This is with a firearm, assault rifle. He ended up being held up in the bathroom for 3 hours before police could get to a point where they could get to him, and the police killed him. Oh, by the way, the first guy and the other one, he did kill himself. Now, this is an example of an open-air killing. I remember what I said, active attackers are in a populated area where they're trying to do mass murder. This meets the definition, obviously, even though the area was outside. He had rented a motel or hotel room way up high, and basically he got a vantage point of the concert that was going on down below, and he began firing. Now, police try to get to him. Ultimately, he kills himself. He does kill himself. So that leaves the police were left wondering what his motive is. Now, a few months ago, it came out very quietly that the FBI had finished their investigation, and they think they have an idea of what his motive was. This guy was one of these high roller poker players, go to these poker tournaments, and especially he would frequent the Mandalay Bay Hotel. And when he started, he was kind of wealthy, and slowly he began losing money at the Mandalay Bay, and when he finally died, or they looked, he only had like $250,000 left in his account. But anyway, they surmised that he wanted to make Mandalay pay, and that indeed they did, because they ended up having to pay out millions in lawsuits. But that is what they surmise is his motive. He was mad at the hotel. Here we got another guy in New York that was using a vehicle to run people over. Okay, he killed 8 people on bikes, much like the guy over in Kalamazoo. He had pledged himself to ISIS. He injured another 11. He came out, he didn't have a gun, but he came out with a paintball gun and threatened people with it, and the police shot him. He was taken into custody. This one, Sutherland Springs, Texas, the church, 2017. The guy goes into this church. He kills 26 people with an assault rifle. He wounds another 22 others. An armed citizen sees what he's doing and confronts him, and that citizen shoots him, but he's able to get in his car and take off. The citizen flags down another person. They proceed to chase him. He crashes the car, and he ends up, he's shot in the stomach, but he ends up killing himself. This also was recently in the news. This is the guy that had been dishonorably discharged from the Air Force, and it was for domestic abuse. All right. The Air Force did not put that into his criminal history into the law enforcement computer, so he was able to purchase the firearms because that conviction was not there. The Air Force paid out $144 million to all of the families that were involved in that. So, okay. And those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We see this is happening all the time, and yet it does seem to be a sad state of affairs that it continues, that we're not learning. All right. The number of deaths. Now, as much as I told you, more often than not, these end before the police arrive, but yet at the same time, the killer generally knows the police are in fact coming. So, the number of deaths determine on how quickly the police arrive. Generally, especially those who have fixated on mass killing, they know what is happening. The guy from Virginia Tech, he knew police are coming, and he did some efforts to try to stop the police from getting to him, because he knows. So, the number of deaths, determine how quickly police arrive, and target availability. What does that mean? That means 3 minutes. In general, 3 minutes from the call comes to them till they arrive. 3 minutes is, I'd say that's pretty good here, actually. We are on KCC main campus. We are surrounded by Battle Creek City Police and Calhoun County Police. RMTC, a little bit further out. Might be a little more of a delay, but nevertheless, they are in the city limits of Battle Creek. You get further out in a rural area, this may be longer. It's just a matter of fact, just so you're aware. But in the end, we have this period of time that we need to reduce target availability. Hence, lock out, get out, take out. Those 3 minutes, I'm trying to get you to be prepared, start thinking what you can do to basically save yourself or save your friends, or somebody dear to you from being attacked until the police come and deal with that situation.